healthy leaders, right? As we think about what a good leader looks like, they honor their values and not everyone else's expectations. So if we're going to be great leaders and great people, we don't live by other people's expectations except by our values, and that sometimes those things don't align and they create tension. Welcome to the It Matters podcast. I'm your host, Walter Perez, and let's dive in as we help you grow your mindset and elevate your leadership. Hey everybody, welcome back to the It Matters podcast. Thank you for joining me on another episode. Greatly appreciate you all. And thanks for just continuing to be on this journey as we continue to grow, learn, and then challenge ourselves in the process so we can become not only better leaders, so we can lead well, we can become the best version of ourselves. And so on that note, I wanted to bring you this other episode today where I wanted to talk about this idea of living in tension. Okay, so this comes from this idea that we need to be an intentional leader. We need to be intentional people. I've talked about that before. Actually, great leaders are intentional. But if we're going to be intentional, we really got to understand what is going to be required of us. So being intentional means to be on purpose, that we want to be people that are on purpose and direct and focused in on that. But if we're going to be that type of leader, we automatically are going to put ourselves in a posture of being in tension. There's going to be a tension that is going to be invited into our lives when we choose to be intentional. Now, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's actually a great thing, because if we're going to be effective, if we're going to be on purpose properly, if we're going to be, be able to actually maximize our potential, and we're actually going to be able to impact people and bring value to them, well, there's actually going to be a tension that's going to be part of that. And so we need to be not only aware of that, but maybe understand what actually is going to be involved, so we actually know how to maneuver through that and become better because of it. And so acknowledging that it literally means living in tension is going to actually help us a lot. And so understanding that when we are living from that posture, we are not necessarily living in a calm posture, but we are going to continuously or often be trying to live in this alignment where we're trying to work through things and do some hard and difficult things, make some difficult decisions. It's going to get uncomfortable. It's going to be an uncomfortable alignment is how I would want to put it, where being uncomfortable is not necessarily bad, because it allows us to stretch. It allows us to grow. And so if we can welcome that, we then realize, okay, this is some really good tension. It doesn't have to be bad. And so this allows us to then realize that when we choose tension, we're not just living our lives on autopilot. We're not just kind of living life and kind of moments are going by and we're just kind of floating through. No, there's actually something important that's happening when we're choosing to live in that tension, because we're living on purpose and life is not just going by. And so something to understand then is what does it kind of feel like? Why does it feel like there's tension when we're living on purpose? Why does it feel like there's tension when we are being intentional? And so understanding that one of the big ideas here, one of the big ideas that causes this tension, the reason it feels like that, it's because there's a tension between who I am today and who I'm becoming tomorrow. Who I am today is I'm not there yet. So there's this tension where part of my old habits and my old life is trying to keep me the way I've always done things, who I was, and doesn't want me to change. And so I'm feeling this. The tension that I feel when I'm on purpose is this transformation, this bridge between who I am today and who I'm becoming tomorrow. So it's important to acknowledge that's good tension. Um, there's this tension between being comfortable, and there's tension of me pursuing a calling, me pursuing this future. And so comfort can feel great. And so when we become intentional, the tension comes out and it says, well, it's like calling me out. It's calling me out of this safe place. And so, because if I'm going to pursue my calling, then I'm going to have to stretch, and I'm going to have to step out. I'm going to have to be courageous. I'm going to have to leave the familiar. I'm going to have to go into the unfamiliar, which can be scary at times. But as I have learned, it can be one of the best things that you ever do. The other tension that you might be experiencing or feeling is the difference, or the difference in the between the urgent and the important. When we live from this posture of I just need to focus on what is urgent right now, what needs to get done today, we sometimes leave the important behind. We forget that there's other things that we're putting in place that actually should be prioritized. And so being intentional, living an intentional life means we're going to disappoint the urgency. We're going to disappoint the urgent sometimes because it doesn't need to get done right now. It actually doesn't need to be focused on right now. And so when we choose to live like that, then we automatically say that we're going to prioritize what is important. And I know many of you, if not all of you, have understood that tension, and it's a tough one sometimes, especially if somebody else is putting that on us, or we have put it on ourselves to think like that. And so we need to change that that way of thinking, so that we can actually live on purpose. Okay, so now I want to just give you some, maybe like another three thoughts or another pointers that you can think of this week that will help you live as an intentional leader. And if we're going to be intentional people, we're going to be intentional humans, we need to embrace these ideas, okay? And so the first one is that the tension of discipline and desire, discipline versus desire. That is always going to be a tension that we have to then kind of battle through and work through. But why this is important, because when we decide that we're going to do something, whether we feel like it or not, it's going to make a difference. When we have pre-decided that this is my disciplines, these are my habits, these are my rhythms, I will wake up, get up, and do them whether I feel like it or not. And then we realize that, okay, this is what it means to live on purpose. See, leaders don't fail because of lack of desires. They fail because of lack of discipline through the discomfort. So if we can become people that say, even though I feel uncomfortable right now, I'm still going to do it because I've committed to, that is my value, that is my foundation, that is my discipline. That's how you're going to do it. You can have the desires all day long, but if you don't commit to the discipline, and knowing that the discipline is going to come whether you feel good or bad, that's where you're going to win. You're going to win when you just have a commitment and a committed decision in that, and saying, I'm going to show up no matter how I feel. So something to think about, or to reflect on right now, that will help you in this process is, what do I want most that I'm letting what I want right now steal from me? Okay, let me say it again. What do I want most that I'm letting what I want right now steal from me? So what is it that you need to work through right now? How can you reflect on this, so then you know that if this is what I'm going to get, this is what I'm going to have to follow through on, and what I'm going to have to put in place. All right. Another challenge, or another thing that I want you to really chew on, is this: the tension of boundaries versus people pleasing. Huge. It's always going to be a challenge. It's always going to be potentially a problem if you let it be. And so being intentional means that sometimes on purpose with strategy, you're going to have to disappoint people. And that is okay, because if you know that on purpose, you're going to have to not go out on the weekend to be able to get certain things done that are in line with your values and your purpose, then on purpose, you're going to have to say, sorry, I can't make it out because I am working on this. And that is not a bad thing. It's not, you don't have to feel guilty about that. I will say then make time for community and connection and hanging out with people at appropriate times, and be intentional about that as well. Where sometimes you might have to say no to work so you can go and actually go live your life with people. And that's a good thing as well. So healthy leaders, right? As we think about what a good leader looks like, they honor their values and not everyone else's expectations. So if we're going to be great leaders and great people, we don't live by other people's expectations except by our values, and that sometimes those things don't align and they create tension. And so I want you to think about that as something that you can apply and maybe reflect on how you've done. So a question to really kind of put this together to help you a little bit more is, who do I need to stop trying to impress? Okay, is there somebody that you need to stop trying to impress in order to stay intentional? Who do you need to then put boundaries around with, so then you can continue to be a person of purpose and intentional, and be able to manage that tension in the process, in that action. So think about that, reflect on that this week. And then finally, a third idea that I want you to really think about is that the tension between focus versus distraction, which is huge, because being intentional is going to cause you to be focused. And so there is going to be that tension always when you're working through things, where something's going to come to distract you and take you off focus, and you're going to feel that tension because it's a real one. So there's this friction that happens when you become focused. There's this friction because distraction comes so easily. It's so easy to go do something else. It's so easy to get distracted and just lose focus and have another train of thought. So being focused, being that person that is disciplined enough is going to cause some tension, and it's going to cause some work. But it's not a bad thing. It's a real good thing, because when we're focused, we're effective, we get things done, and we're going to feel great about ourselves because we are actually moving forward. And so being intentional potentially means that you're going to have to say no more times than you do say yes. I've said that before. I've talked about that before, but it's worth repeating and talking about it today, because no is a superpower. We don't have to say yes to everything. We don't have to be yes people. We can also be no people. And so here's the reflection question for you as you think about that. And it's, what do I need to eliminate so I can stay aligned with my purpose? What do I need to eliminate so I can stay focused and I can be on purpose with my values and everything else that I'm doing? So I want to just cover really quickly what are some of the benefits that are going to come from you being intentional, and understanding that being intention can be a good thing. So here, really quickly, we have to just kind of reframe the way we think about some things. So tension does reveal growth. Okay, tension can be a really good thing when it comes to growth. Tension develops capacity and character. It allows us to stretch, it allows us to become more capable and able. Tension clarifies what truly matters. It clarifies us what makes us on purpose. It clarifies what makes us people that focus on the things that truly matter to us. Tension separates the average leader from an effective leader. We actually can become effective. We can actually understand what makes us tick and good, and allows us to move forward. And we don't just become this average leader that just is managing life, but we become people that are leading our lives. And then tension is that a great sign. It's a great sign, to my last point, is that you're leading and not just drifting, that you're actually moving forward on purpose and not just kind of going with the flow, and just being careless in the way you live your life. So maybe a couple things to think about on a day-to-day basis, to think through what it means to live intention daily, is Set your clear intentions for the day. What do you want to get done today? What is that one thing that you want to make sure you need to get done today? And it doesn't have to be a full list of a to-do list, but what can you get done today that is going to make you intentional? What are you doing that is making you uncomfortable? Are you actually practicing discomfort? Are you pushing yourself enough every day that is making you uncomfortable a little bit, which in return will allow you to get better? And that could happen being uncomfortable in quietness, in journaling, getting still, having hard conversations. You name it. Those things can be difficult and can have a lot of tension. So allow yourself to do at least one thing every day that allows you to do. To practice those daily tensions. Review your day through this question. Where did I lean into tension and where did I avoid it? Where did I lean into tension and where did I avoid it? And then finally, celebrate resistance as an evidence of growth. When things are not as smooth, as when things are a little bit challenging and difficult, celebrate it, because it's a good thing and it's an evidence that you're growing and that things are happening. And so I want to leave you with this idea that tension can be good. I want you to step into it. I want you to lean into it, because when you feel tension, you need to just pause. You need to reflect and ask yourself the question. Ask yourself the question. Is the tension actually is this going to be the intention that I need that it's going to cost me to move forward? Is it going to cost me to stay average, or is it going to cost me to move ahead? Is this a good thing or not? And if it's actually going to be good for you, then step into it. And if it's not, then allow yourself to create boundaries and step away from it. And then, work on yourself from a different perspective, from a different posture. So I want to remind you that great leaders don't run from tension. They rise to the occasion of that. And it's okay to be in tension. And in that, we become intentional on purpose. And we're going to see great results from all of this. So I hope that you live a life of intention that invites tension into it, so then you can see some amazing growth and some great things coming out of your life. I am excited to continue some of these conversations and going deeper as we become better leaders, as we become people that are healthy, whole, and human, and we end up leading from a great posture for long term here. Because, as we love to say, it is a win-win when the leader leads well, and I have no doubt that this will help us lead well. I'll catch you in the next time. Bye for now.